This week has been real trial heavy.
Yes. So the next thing we're going to talk about is Diddy, of course. So jury selections for the Sean Diddy Combs, aka P. Diddy, began on Monday in the Federal District Court of the Southern District of New York. So Diddy who's been in custody since last September, faces charges of sex trafficking, transporting to engage in prostitution and racketeering conspiracy, and he has pled not guilty. So the trial is set to begin as soon as Monday. Yeah.
It can possibly start on Monday because today, Friday, they are expected to finalize jury selection.
Right. So the prosecution and defense will now narrow jury members down to the 12 who will serve on the jury, plus 6 alternates. First off, when I had jury duty, and I was like, granted, I'm in Jersey, so it would never happen from New York, but I'm like, what if they did a special consideration and I was on that trial?
Girl.
Bro, you would have been...
You know too much about the case, so you would have not been.
I would have been in that courtroom like, oh my God. Okay. Anyway, so his high profile case and his fame has made it a bit hard to select jurors. And according to an NPR article, many jurors brought up both the criminal charges and several dozen civil lawsuits against Diddy. And someone basically even said it's all over social media, and potential juror told the judge. And again, juries raised the same example, the surveillance video released by CNN last year, where it showed Diddy basically beating up Cassie, right? So I know we talked about Luigi and how his case is going to be...
That's going to be exactly the same situation.
It's just it's very hard. And it differs from Luigi because we talk about the healthcare system and how not a lot of people, a lot of people have connections to the healthcare system. I think for us, what's gonna be interesting to see with the Diddy case is that we grew up on Diddy.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you know how there's some people, it's just the same thing with R. Kelly. The way, we grew up on R. Kelly. And because you grew up on these people, a lot of times, people are not going to change their minds about who these people are because for so long, they were presented as a specific type of way.
Yeah.
So it's just if you consistently saw this man in a positive light and then this came out of nowhere, it's it also depends morally how much you respect, the what's it called? What we diminish it as a society in terms of sex trafficking, prostitution, and stuff like that.
And those things were also brought up as are you comfortable with, seeing videos that might show, sexual harassment or things like that, things of that nature? Because if you don't feel comfortable opening up about that, let's say you are someone who was sexually assaulted, you probably I can't handle that. So that is also a reason for, then you can't be a part of this jury.
Right. And I think it's going to be interesting to see because it's sometimes people don't look at people who are sexually deviant as that. They're just he a freak, some people just like to be he's a freak or he's nasty or that's just what we chalk it up to be, and then you just go about your day. But it's there's some people who are literal predators, and it's I'm not one to kink shame, but it gets to a point sometimes where something isn't a kink and it's literally done to basically make people feel less than. And it's just I feel this case is going to be very interesting to see. It is. It's going to be so interesting.
Yeah, I think, is it Casey or Cassie?
Cassie.
She did say that she is going to get on, she's going to, what do you call it when you get on the stand?
She's going to be questioned.
Yeah, well, she has agreed to get on the stand and give her testimony. I am not remembering the correct terms, but I feel that's where who you bring up on the stand matters because, the list is long. And also another point that I did want to mention, the jurors were also shown a list of people and places that are going to be relevant to this case. And although they didn't really specify the capacity of it, some A-list celebrities were on that list, including Michael B. Jordan, Mike Myers, Lauren London, Michelle Williams of Destiny's Child, Young Miami. If you don't know, Young Miami, and Diddy, I don't know when the relationship started or ended, but they were in a relationship or some situationship before he got caught. Mm-hmm. So Young Miami and also Kid Cudi. So I feel like aside from like the future of Diddy, a lot of celebrities are going to be put into question.
And my thing is, right, when I saw like a list of like the people who are going to be like brought in,
right,
I'm like, oh baby, we're gonna be looking at a lot of people sideways.
Yeah, and I think that's also like something that if you see something wrong, say something, because a lot of times like I don't want to say I understand, but like when you are the small fish in the water, you feel like, well, maybe this is normal, right? Like maybe this is normal. Maybe this is just a part of how the industry works. So who am I to say anything? But maybe say something, do something, mention something, because if not, when that big fish get caught, everything will come to light.
And you know what my thing is also? I feel like especially what we see in the industry a lot of times is that because you see these big, high, powerful people who are part of these industries doing certain stuff, you feel like you have no choice like but to put your morals aside and do that. Yeah. And that's where I think being like comfortable in who you are, regardless of your standing and your status, is very important, because it's very easy to sit there and like say, I'm going to, like, it's hard to push yourself out of
your comfort zone.
But the moment that you do, you need to understand what about this is making me push myself out of my comfort zone. Am I doing it for self-development, or am I doing it because if I don't, people are going to look at me differently?
Yeah.
You know, just because the majority is doing it doesn't mean that you need to be a part of the majority. Sometimes be the minority. Like, take yourself out of the equation, because now, in this case, like we mentioned, a lot of A-list people are about to be questioned. We don't know what the questioning is going to be about. We don't know nothing yet. But it's just like stuff is going to come out that we never knew. And you are going to look at people who, like I mentioned earlier, you got the R. Kellys, the Diddys, the people that you grew up seeing your whole life in such a positive light. You might look at them sideways.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I'm definitely going to keep up with this trial because, you know, like we mentioned, these people, they're not necessarily going to show up and testify, but, you know, they are going to be brought up some way, shape, or form. Maybe they went to a party or a text. We don't know. It might be something small. But the fact that, like Rebecca said, we grew up on Diddy. He had so many business ventures, the Ciroc, the this, the that, the parties. Things are gonna pop up, and baby, it's gonna be. When Cassie, I believe she's pregnant with like her third child now or something.
Yeah. So
I think that also is like, you know, here she is pregnant on the stand and is gonna be testifying about something that is so Trump. Like, I saw the videos and my heart sunk. So, you know, I'm going to keep in touch with that, and we'll probably most likely be talking about this for a lot of episodes.